Another bit of information is about Thrifty Rent-a-Car. One is that when you reserve a car, see that you're reserving a specific model, or are they going to reserve one that is in that range? Two very different ways to reserve a rent-a-car there. Now, one of the interesting things about Thrifty Rent-a-Car is that I rented one about 1 o'clock in the morning. I came in from the airport from the East Coast to the West Coast. It was raining and dark and 1 o'clock in the morning, right? Got a car. And I wanted to get out of the parking lot and get back to the manager's office, so I could ask them questions about that. So I saw the office down a lot of ways, and so I turned and went towards it, and there it was dark, and there was a stop sign, so I stopped at the stop sign, in the parking lot there, and then proceeded, across, and I got out of the car, and I heard this hissing sound, and the guy who was there on duty that evening said, "You ran over the spikes." I said, "What spikes?" And he pointed back, and sure enough, they had spikes there. I said, you got to cut me a break on this one, because those spikes were before the stop sign. If you've got a hazard, you got to put the hazard sign before the hazard, right? And that was the case. The stop sign was like 4 feet after the tire shredders, right? And it was dark, and it was late raining, and the yellow paint around the tire shredder was off, and there was no sign. Well, actually, there was a sign about the tire shredding on the left and the right, but it was all in English. There was no point, and all it said was blah. It had like 5 or 6 lines, like a paragraph, right? And so in there it said, warned about extreme tire damage. Well, what is that? They put a picture of teeth. This is an Portland International Airport. You have people coming from all over the world, and you put, a densely worded in English, and it's extreme tire damage. Look, it's just insane. And then you put the sign after the hazard, right? And the stop sign. Why would you put a stop sign? See, look, a stop sign, according to Oregon state law, is that you stop and proceed when it's clear. Now, you do not want people to stop and proceed across the tire shredder, do you? No. You want to say no entry. And you want the no entry before the tire hazard. And you want a picture that everybody can understand of tire shredder, okay? Teeth, okay? Big teeth with tire, going over and air coming out, Very simple, teeth. And then a sign that says a big no entry, an international road sign. They have them. That's what Thrifty should have there, right? However, the agent in charge said, he says, it'll be $140 some bucks. And I said, what are you talking about? He said, you can't have a stop sign there after the hazard. And you got nothing there to indicate that there is a hazard, right? The stop sign says stop and go. You don't want people to stop and go over the hazard, And where's their hazards? The English there. Who's reading that? And they're on far side of either part of the road there, drive, and, you're going, really. Anyway, so he says, people do that. And all of a sudden my ears picked up, and I said, what do you mean, people? You mean people are doing this? He said, yeah. I said, well, what is the matter with Thrifty? You're charging people. This is an attractive nuisance. You're leading people with a stop sign after the hazard. People think they can stop and go. And they can't, can they? See? They can't. you've got a sign there that is leading people across the hazard. You would hear nothing of it. See? So anyway, so I'm taking the small claims court, right? Sure, you're not going to win. You can't have a hazard sign after the hazard, and still it isn't a hazard sign. The stop sign is not a hazard sign. And this bit of English on either side, like a paragraph, it says nothing about tire shredders, right? Extreme tire damage. Well, I mean, what is that? Anyway, who would think that Thrifty would put a tire shredder right next to their office, you know, with a stop sign that says you can drive over it? Well, that's exactly what happened. So you got to be careful with Thrifty, because they would not acquiesce to my demands, and the judge isn't going to allow this, you know. And of course, I'm going to charge them more than $140. I'm going to charge them probably $1,500 because of the time and energy and all the stuff that I have to do in order to make the point here, you know. And also for the other customers. I mean, it's unconscionable that Thrifty would do this, you know. Anyway, so I filed a claim against them, of course, and I was taught, and the agent said, okay, sure, and she found in my behalf after Thrifty denied my original claim. So anyway, I hadn't heard from them in a while, and I called, and they said, well, they had no record of that supervisor finding in my favor, right? And I said, and she said, you should have filed something, right? I said, well, can you file it now? And she said, no, it's been 90 days, and you can no longer file. And I looked at the date that I filed, and I was literally within like 15 or 20 days of the incident, right? And now Thrifty says, you can't file because it's after 90 days, even though they made the mistake, right? Twice or 3 times now. Okay, so that's why I'm taking them to court, small claims court. You know, it costs $53. Haul them in there, and I ask for $1,500, and just show the absurdity of Thrifty not responding in an appropriate manner. Totally in an inappropriate manner they did. See, okay, so here's just an example. You got to stand up, and sometimes you got to take people to court. $53, that's it. You know, and you're in and out. You know, you're going to go to the judge and say, look, this, and you don't have to prove stuff, right? This isn't a murder trial. This is you just say, Your Honor, this is what happened, this is what happened, this is what happened, this is what they said, this is what they did, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm asking Thrifty, because I spent all this time and energy, blah, 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 and they acted in bad faith, and, blah, 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 blah. So, anyway, so there we are, another day in the life.